Hi, and welcome to my channel. I'm Allison Velez with winningyourrelationship.com. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to handle your partner's mental illness. Now, usually we don't have a problem taking care of our partner when they have a physical health challenge. We are willing to encourage them and help them. For instance, if your partner has diabetes, like my partner recently got diagnosed, we start eating right and we encourage each other. And if there's medications involved, you encourage your partner to take that as directed. And you encourage them to do the things that's going to result in the best outcome over time. Sometimes we don't have the same attitude, though, when it comes to mental health issues. Sometimes we don't give that the same kind of consideration. Possibly it's something to do with stigma, or those are disorders that we can't really see. So it feels unfamiliar to us and we don't really know how to handle it a lot of times. Now, at this time in history, there are over 200 categorized forms of mental illness. They come in all shapes and sizes. The most common ones that I've worked with, though, are anxiety disorders and depressive disorders. Those are very common in today's society, and both can have a significant impact on the person's functioning. And when someone's functioning is impacted, it is going to affect their relationships in some way. Now, a lot of times, one person in a relationship is usually the fixer. And when something's wrong, they jump in and try to find the solution. They try to find the way to fix the problem. So when a fixer's partner is anxious or depressed, the solution is usually not so easily found. And that can be really frustrating for someone who's used to trying to fix problems. So they could end up feeling helpless and scared. And if you remember, scared often looks like anger. The best way to kind of illustrate this is by talking about phobias. Most of us are familiar with what phobias are, and phobias are a type of anxiety. So if you have someone who's phobic about something, for instance, flying, that's a common phobia that people have, although you can have phobias about any kind of weird thing at all. Phobias cause people to think about things in a very distorted perspective. So I don't really understand someone who's phobic about flying, but you can believe that they think that they have a good reason for believing the way that they do. Similarly, when there's people who are depressed, they often can't summon up the willpower to do the things that will actually help. But people with distorted thinking, like those with anxiety and depression, they aren't necessarily logical. So trying to reason with them can really be futile. We really won't get anywhere with it. So if you have a partner who suffers with anxiety and depression and it becomes evident in the relationship, I want you to think about it. Do you want them to stop being anxious or depressed because it makes you feel uncomfortable? Sometimes we are just uncomfortable because we don't know what to do with the emotions that are being displayed. And we want it to stop just so we don't have to feel uncomfortable. But the best thing that we can do is just acknowledge our partner's feelings and their right to those feelings. Sometimes when people aren't validated for their feeling, they cling to them harder. So some things you can do if your partner has anxiety or depression, you could help in the following ways. Allow and acknowledge their feelings. Let them know that their feelings are okay. We all want to feel accepted for who we are and for how we feel. The second thing that you can do is encourage physical activity. Exercise is the most underrated medicine that we have access to. It can boost the feel-good hormones and it helps discharge the byproducts of being anxious. So if you participate with your partner, then it can also help improve your connection. And when somebody feels supported and connected, that just feels good. So just remember to gear the activity towards your partner who's struggling. A nice slow-paced walk might be more doable than a jog. Remember, they're overcoming a lot of lack of momentum just to get out there at all. So number 3 is have a daily gratitude conversation. There's more and more research out there that shows that gratitude is effective in counteracting depression. It's associated more and more with a happy and emotionally healthy life. So help your partner verbalize things that they're grateful for every single day. Some days I can only find gratitude for sunshine and flip-flops. It all counts. So number 4, help your partner balance their self-care. I tend to look at most mental illnesses or emotional disturbances as a lack of balance. I always say nature strives to find balance. So people are constantly having to do this renegotiation to balance all of their self-care and other care, etc. So some people need to incorporate focus on others. Most people I've worked with need to focus more towards themselves, but either end of the spectrum is unhealthy for most of us, and we all have a different need for self-care versus care for others. And you've got to find where the balance is for you, and it may be different every single day. So encourage more of what your partner needs. Number 5, talk to your partner about getting help without judgment. If your partner cannot get out of their situation, they may need to work with a counselor or consider medications. And this is your partner's decision, so be supportive. I can't tell you how many people feel sabotaged by their partner because their partner doesn't believe in medications for depression or what have you. So this really is a personal decision for everyone, and sometimes it is the best decision. Number 6, create an environment where learning is happening. Learning is a growth activity, so it's really hard to stay in the same place if you're learning, because learning equates to growing. So is there something that your partner has always wanted to learn or been interested in? Is there some way that you can encourage or support them in pursuing that learning? So sign up for a class, plan an outing together, help them follow that curiosity. I hope that these suggestions are helpful, but I also want you to remember, don't belittle your partner for feeling the way that they feel. We don't control our emotions. They come on us. Now, we can change them in some ways, but that takes a lot of effort too. And if your partner is stuck, it's hard for them to grab onto that. If they knew how to change, chances are they probably would already. So know what your limitations are. However, if your partner is unsafe in any way, take them to an emergency services department right away and get help. Depression and anxiety are common emotions we all experience from time to time. They're the most common forms of mental illness that I treat. And most of us can bounce back from those emotions, but when they linger and they start to mess with our functioning, we often need some support to recover. So be a part of that support system for your partner. Now, in this video, I talked about depression and anxiety specifically, but remember, I said there's over 200 kinds of mental health disorders, and those are just the most common ones that I work with in my practice. But whatever challenge your partner has, remember your role is to be supportive and validate, and you might help keep them safe. So encourage them to focus on their mental health and take control of it and do the things that are going to help them bounce back from it. And I hope that this helped, and I'll see you on the next video.